I have felt a call to do the Camino for years now. As I began to think about my sabbatical time, the Camino came to mind for me immediately, and I began to dream about it actually happening. Before I began the Camino, I knew that the way always begins at home, but it wasn't until I was out on the trail that I truly let that sink in. Anyone who walks the Camino will tell you that you can never fully know what awaits you and that you have to walk your Camino alone, no one else's. I knew that I always wanted to do the Camino to be broken open, to be able to better hear God's calling and invitation for the next phase of my life and vocation. And unsurprisingly, it didn't happen the way I was expecting. One of the surprising things for me was a deep sense of spiritual longing that I had for my religious practices. What I observed on the Camino was that the Camino always provides, and that's true for the hyper religious and the deeply spiritual and the questioning souls. That spiritual longing that I had stemmed from a distance to our Anglican tradition along the way. I found myself in this middle space between our shared universal Christian tradition and access to the sacraments, which is where I most fully feel God's grace. And this created a bit of holy dissonance for the work that God was doing in me along the way. When I arrived in Santiago, and as I extended my cupped hands at Santa Susana's to receive the sacrament for that first time on my whole sabbatical journey, I realized just how much it enriched my Camino. To conclude my Camino with God's Holy Sacrament was something that was so vital to my experience, and I was so grateful to get to partake in Santiago. Before I left Kentucky, someone who had done the Camino years before me wrote me a note that said, "Enjoy the journey, forget the destination. Every step is a gift." These wise words rumbled around my head as I walked and as I shifted plans and as I received what God had to offer me along the way. Well, once I did arrive in Santiago, I knew that I needed to unpack the journey. It seems like the Camino has its own time and pace. And even now, months later, I'm finding that it's still working on me. And I'm so grateful to have made the connection with the Reverend Anna Noon, the Pilgrim Missioner, as a spiritual conversation partner as the Camino continues to shape me. The Anglican Center in Santiago, even at this early stage, was so vital to my Camino, and I'm so very grateful for it.